spoke about Cardiff University's plans earlier, but I'm sure there's plans from Liverpool and Manchester University, I guess, out there to embed medical students in community placements for much longer. Because the evidence is quite clear. You know, if you want people to become good doctors and look after the patient in a wholesome way and make it more likely that they'll become GPs and stay in the community, they're much more likely to do that if they spend more time doing the training doing that. So I think, as I said earlier, it's a very exciting time if you are keen. Those of you in this room, you know, the 20-30% who want to be GPs, it's a very, very good time to be in it, really, because I think you'll get much more exposure to general practice once you go into medical school. And in terms of Manchester, Fionn, how many placements do they have? What's the structure and the setup for Manchester?
So I look after fourth year medical students in Manchester, so I'm not sure about the rest of them, but fourth years, again, they can come to North Wales for 4-week blocks. And my involvement is I have a Manchester student in practice with me for 4 weeks, different rotations throughout the year. And also on a Friday, I take a 4-hour teaching session. And reflecting back, to point out Gwen, but that was a really interesting question to me, because when I started going into medicine, both my parents were teachers, and two of the things that I said, reflecting back to what Matt said, was I definitely didn't want to be a GP, and there was absolutely no way on earth did I ever want to do any teaching. And I think it's the same as anything else in life. You start off on a path and you suddenly realise that actually what you wanted out of life might be different to what you think now. But your question about how do you keep sort of that part of yourself safe, as it were, from the very upsetting things that you see. And I find that my role as a teacher, again, it's not just teaching people facts and figures because you can get that from books, but it's reflecting on things like that in your practice. And in the Friday group that I do with Manchester students, we would discuss things like that, what people's feelings were about how they'd see people in the week, or things that had upset them, or actually things that had just made them really happy. So things like that you would be helped with through medical school, because I think it is very frightening going into this career that's, you're going to see all sorts of things in life and maybe not feel that you've got the skills to deal with them, but actually the fact that you've asked that question today probably shows that you've got much more skills than you think, because you've actually thought about that already.
Good. Just moving on, Emma, to obviously we know that you can actually approach general practice in many different ways in terms of training. So if you just kind of quickly summarise what you have to do in terms of the exam, if you like, or the actual training structure. So obviously there's a lot of flexibility in terms of how long it takes, but if you fill them in a little bit about what specific general practice training is like.
Right. So you have to qualify as a doctor. That's really important. That's your first step. You have to do these 2 foundation years. You've probably all looked at the structure, I would imagine. If you're contemplating looking at medical school, you come out for the first year, you're provisionally registered with the GMC, and then you do a second foundation year. And then at the end of that, if you want to go straight into general practice training, it's a 3-year scheme. The first, in 6-month blocks, 6-month jobs. First year is in hospital, second year is half in hospital and half in general practice, and then the third year is a full year in a different general practice. And through mostly the second and the third year, you pass the different bits of the exam that make up your college membership, MRCGP, and you have to pass your MRCGP to be allowed to be a GP.
Yeah, so roughly that's the requirements for training, really, because I think there's a perception, certainly in the past there's a perception that if you couldn't be a specialist you'd end up being a GP, but in fact general practice training also involves passing as a member of the Royal College of General Practitioners, so it's quite a tough exam, it's a very high standard of exam, and so it should be. So like the other specialities like medicine or surgery, for example, who have their own college exams, general practice is the same. But I think the big difference in general practice is there's so much focus on communication. So a big part of what we do is now as trainers focuses on communication skills. Because as I said earlier, what comes through the door to see us could be anything. So it's really, really important that we can actually pick up on those body language things and the communication signs, you know, and go down the right avenue, if you like, with the patient. Yeah, so in general, it's, I think it's 18 months, isn't it, in general practice. But there are apparently opportunities during foundation years as well, and hopefully that will become more commonplace for foundation doctors to have exposure to general practice. So if you're not sure what you want to do after qualifying, you can always do that and make your mind up then as well.